And we are live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Just Kicking It with Cas and Omeika. What's going on, Omeika?
Nothing much, Cass. How are you?
Everything's all good. It's been a minute since our last episode, so I know we have a lot to dive in to.
Yes,
Yep.
we
hmm
do have a lot to catch up with. I want to start off with just like something fun.
Yeah, let's do
Um, I've been on a couple of trips lately, and I went to Detroit. It was one
it.
of
Right.
those places, and I'm going to show you all what I picked up when I was there. So this
Nice.
is a Motown, the original logo,
Right.
right? Record mouse pad. I
I
had
like
to
that.
get it. Absolutely love it. So yes, that is I wanted to
Yeah.
show you that. I think
Yeah. Now
it's
that.
awesome.
Now I think it's awesome too. So we're about to get into your business in a second, and you're gonna reveal only what you want to reveal. But you've been out and about gallivanting, as people say. But before we jump into that, Motown, are you familiar? All right, so I'm gonna see if I could date you real quick.
Oh
In
my God.
regards to your age, do you remember having a record player in your house with 45s?
So here's the thing. My parents did not have one. Okay.
Right.
I don't know what we were listening to, but it was
Mm-hmm.
music, but it was not a
Eight
record player.
8 tracks. Could have been 8 tracks. Could have been eight
How
tracks.
about just a radio? How about that? How about we
It could
just
it
go
could have
with
been it could have been radio. It could have been radio.
it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
it was
actually do remember
dad
having.
loved music. He loved
Right.
music. Yeah, we never had a record player.
Yeah. So my parents didn't have a record player either, but when I was super young, and they don't even know this, this super Christian, like my father's a pastor and my mother supports him. And so we grew up in church deep. But very early, like I was starting to get influenced and I played music in church, but I also, because I was a musician, I like to consume a lot of different types of music, right? And if you know anybody that's a Christian, anything that's not Christian, it's either Christian or secular. Like there's no in between, right?
There's no.
Um, yeah, so I remember getting a record player like on the low and hiding from my parents and just consuming a whole bunch of stuff. And I remember having a lot of 45s. And I obviously got, bigger records, bigger full albums, etc. But yeah, that just seeing that just takes me back to my early teens for sure.
Yes, I thought it was the coolest thing in the
Yeah.
entire gift shop, and I was
hmm
like, I have to have it.
Right,
And
right.
fun thing about me, I love socks, so I had to get
Okay.
me a pair of clown socks too.
Nice, 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 nice. And who doesn't need a new mouse pad or new socks?
Right.
Who? Right, exactly. So let's jump in. Like this was travel for pleasure, right? It wasn't because
Yes,
no
needed
business, right? Okay.
right, no business. Went to Detroit for a family reunion actually.
Okay.
And the plan was to spend like let's see, yeah, 4 days there, right?
hmm
Well, here comes the global IT outage.
Yeah, I remember that day.
Um, when it happened, I had a really early flight, and I was like, okay, ooh, good, we missed it. By the time we get ready to go home, which was Sunday, right? It would be done. Well, it was not done. It was only the beginning.
Right.
So let's just say that I was stranded, had to spend an extra night in Detroit, finally got on the flight to Kentucky, and you would not guess how I made it back to Atlanta.
Tell us. I know, but tell the audience.
Rental car.
Turn into
Had
a
to rent
road trip, huh?
a car at the airport, turned into a road trip. First time ever, I know the audience is going to love this. I went to Bucky's.
Let's talk about it. I almost forgot that was like one of the topics, but let's talk about it. What
So
did you think?
it blew my mind. Okay. So I was
And
trying to
you
describe.
Yeah, and you've been here. You've been here for a minute.
Right. I've been here 10 years. I've
Right.
never been. So we go to Bucky's and I walk in and I'm looking around because I'm like,
Wow.
am I in the mall? Because
Wow.
it was that many people in
Yep.
there. And I the way I describe it, it's a crossover between one of the sporting goods stores, not
Yeah.
Dick's, but what's the other one?
Academy? Like Academy?
Mm-mm. Starts with a G, I think, in Duluth. Um, so it was a crossover between sporting goods store, a
Hmm.
gas station, and a grocery store.
Hmm.
That's
But not just,
really
yeah, yeah,
what it was. I mean, because you
right.
can get anything from fresh meat
To cook,
to
to cooked meat.
like the cooked meat to fishing rods or hunting gear to gas.
Yep. To
So
Hawaiian shirts, to swimsuits, to
yes,
banana pudding.
blankets. Like, oh my God. I
Yeah,
was like,
yeah,
it was so hard not to get another throw blanket because I'm always cold and I have plenty of them.
right.
So yeah. So never been. It was a great experience. If you've
Yeah,
never been, please go. You
yeah,
just have to get it out your system.
yeah. Now I would agree. So I went for the first time. It could have been 2 months ago. A friend of mine and I, we were heading up to Nashville, and we decided to drive. Had to take care of some business. He was like, "Let's stop at Bucky's," but I didn't know what he was talking about. I'm like, "I guess we got to get gas, but whatever you want to call it, whatever local gas station you love, let's just stop there." And as soon as we pulled in, as soon as we turned in, like I already knew it was going to be an experience because this was probably like the biggest like
Yes.
outside row of gasoline pumps I've seen in a minute. And we weren't even catering to like semis. This was just for the cars.
Right.
And there was so many people going in and out. And as soon as I stepped in, he was like, "You're gonna want to get something to eat."
Yeah.
And I was like, first I gotta go to the bathroom. And when you go to the bathroom, the inside of the bathroom is bigger than most New York City apartments, like one bedrooms, two bedrooms. Like I don't know if you had to go to the bathroom, but the bathroom had somebody in the bathroom like cleaning up like constantly. Like it was so
Love
clean.
it.
And I personally judge gas stations. And if you're listening and you're in the comments, let me know if you do the same thing. I judge gas stations based on the cleanliness of their bathroom.
Yeah.
And I remember when I first moved here from New York, and I was like, I can't understand how people are eating food from the gas station. And now it's 20 years later, and this place has the best food, right? So I ended up getting like a brisket
Sandwich.
biscuit, yeah, the sandwich, right?
Mm.
Um, and then I got a sweet tooth, so I saw the banana pudding. I was like, my wife wasn't with me, so I was like, she probably wants this brownie. So I like they have like a bakery, and it's
Oh yeah.
all kinds of like sweet treats, whatever. So I went crazy. But here's the thing: so we went to Nashville. We was there for like 2 days, whatever, and drove back. And I had to stop again. I had to stop again. So yes, I did it. So yeah, I appreciate Bucky's. Like I don't know why they only have two locations, this close to Atlanta, in Georgia, and I think it's really one in Perry, which is south, and then the other one is north on
And,
75.
Dawson. Yeah, that's the
Dalton,
one.
right, 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 right.
I so that was definitely the topic. And I believe the reason why there aren't any closer because of the size of a land and
Mm.
that they need. Because I mean, it has to be like more than an acre.
Oh
And
yeah,
the
it's
one
probably like 4 or 5 acres.
right. So the
Yeah,
one in Dalton, they're actually building a Bucky's car wash
is
right
that what's going to be next door? I
there.
couldn't figure out what that was. I couldn't figure out what
I
that was.
saw the
Okay,
sign.
okay,
And you mentioned about not seeing any semis.
yeah,
The sign that
yeah.
says no
No
semis,
semis. Okay,
no semis. And I thought that was so cool.
different,
They're like, yeah, go
different.
down the
Yeah.
street to QT or wherever.
Right,
You're
right, right, right.
here.
Yeah,
And
man. I like yeah, like I love driving, and there's only two or three places that I'll stop along 75, 85, 95. And
mhm,
the only other place I love, no pun intended, but is Love's. So I'm
Love.
sure you've
I
seen
know
Love's,
love.
and I like. And again, I judge a gas station, and if
Yeah,
I'm stopping and eating, based on the cleanliness of the bathroom. And Love's would be probably number two. Sheets
yeah.
is up there too. I don't know if you've seen Sheets in
I
North or
have,
South Carolina. Sheets is pretty clean too. So it's
I,
again cleanliness and how good the food is. If you have to stop, because if you have a family and you got to stop
right,
and use the bathroom and grab a bite, you want the experience to be like top notch. So those would
right.
be
Love
my top three.
actually be up there for me, but
Hmm.
about 2 months ago, went to South Carolina, stopped at
Yeah,
Love's,
yeah.
worst restrooms,
Oh,
and I was like, yeah,
worse.
off my
Terrible.
list. I could not believe it. Off my list, just like that. You're gone. You're out of
Yeah.
here.
Here, well, here. All right. So we always try to link things back to business, and I've heard a couple of lessons or nuggets since we've been talking. So for business owners, right? So you could be the best, right? And you could have you could be top tier, right?
Hmm.
Among the cream of the crop in regards to your presentation, your delivery, your customer
Hmm.
service, but it only takes one time for you to really harm your reputation.
That's
And you
it.
know what? You'll have people, I say people, users of your product, um, be quick to really say they had a bad experience, honestly quicker than for them to be like, hey, I had a good experience over here. Believe it or not. So it's
Right.
easier for me to be like, hey, we're talking about XYZ cafe. I'd be like, oh, you're thinking about going there this Friday? You thinking about taking your husband? Nah, homegirl, don't go there. Like me and my wife had a bad experience over there. So it's easier for some human reason to actually say the negative. And that's why I try to intentionally, promote businesses in a positive way when I have an opportunity to. But if you're just chit chatting and things come up, just know business owners like try to make sure that every experience for everybody. And I know it's
Yeah.
difficult, especially if you have a brick and mortar location. I know it's difficult, but try to make sure that you have a system where you have SOPs and your people are following those set SOPs, and you have you know a cream of the crop experience for your customers each and every time. And if you
That's
know that something is lacking, communicate. Make sure that sorry, hey, welcome back to 123 Cafe. I know it's usually not this busy. I appreciate you waiting. You know
right.
what? Because you've been waiting so long, we're going to take off 5%, or we're going to give you this appetizer for free, or what have you. Do something different.
Yeah.
But as soon as you acknowledge that things are a little different than they usually are, I think
Mhm.
people are more willing to be forgiving from a business standpoint. What do you
Absolutely.
think? What do you think?
Absolutely. I
Yeah.
absolutely agree with you. Like I said, my experience, and I have not driven anywhere. It had probably been about 5 years since
Oh
I
wow.
took
Okay.
a trip.
A road trip. Hmm.
To
Oh, okay.
go there, what I remember to be my favorite stop, because
Yeah.
they have some pretty okay food too, right? If
Yeah.
you just like a snack.
For gas
And
station food, right.
right. And
Right.
so I mean, it was to the point I come out the restroom. My husband was like, "Do you want anything?" I was like, "Nope," and neither do you.
Let's go.
Let's be
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, you'd rather stop again, right? You do your business and get out. Yeah. Cause
Yeah,
I mean, cause initially you don't really want to eat gas station food if you don't have to anyway.
right, right.
So it really doesn't take a lot. But it comes down to the cleanliness for real. Like when things
Absolutely.
are just disheveled and it looks like a dollar store in there, you go in the bathroom, there's tissue everywhere, or like liquids on the
Right.
floor, like or it has an odor. That's a like instant turn off. Cool. Now,
Absolutely.
so welcome back. Anything else about your trips, or trips plural that we should know about?
So,
World traveler.
what was supposed to be a trip to Detroit turned
Right.
into a trip to Canada. I did
Okay.
have the opportunity to go to Canada. Had a
For Drake
great
Day.
time. No,
Internal joke, you guys. She doesn't like Drake.
I got to hang out downtown, take
Okay.
some pictures, do some great content.
That's dope.
It was just like a breath of fresh air. Like I was so excited about crossing the border and going.
Right.
Coming back was a little different because our car was tagged and we were
Okay.
searched.
Oh
Um,
wow.
so yeah, that was quite an experience, but it was with respect, They didn't put everything back where it belonged, but
Never do. They never do.
they were nice about it.
Okay.
So that was kind of like a 20-minute detour.
Right.
So, we went through that little ordeal, had a good time in Detroit. Like I said, went and visited some sites. And then, with the whole delay, I got to go to Kentucky. Had never been to Kentucky. And then
Right.
driving, I went from Kentucky to Tennessee to Georgia. So
Right.
that just turned into something that was not planned. And on that note, that's why you must always be prepared. And you have to have a rainy day fund, because I left my house not anticipating a
Yeah.
global technical
Outage.
outage.
Right.
And if I had not been prepared financially, that would have been a really, really difficult,
Difficult. Yep.
uncomfortable hardship of a trip trying to get back home.
Right.
So just wanted to drop that little nugget. And so I had another vacation lined up the following week. So I didn't get back in until Tuesday. I started back working on Wednesday, and then
Right.
Saturday I was gone again to
Wow. Okay.
Cancun. Went to Cancun. Absolutely amazing. Shout out to Planet Hollywood.
And
Like,
Cancun?
yes,
What did
absolutely
they do? Yeah, what
phenomenal.
did they do different? Is that where you
So,
stayed?
yes.
Okay.
Um, so
I'm
this
curious
resort
now.
had the option to, like, if you had a family, you stayed on the family side, and then
Nice.
other people stayed on the adult side. So I love that. And it was only like a 5 to 7 minute walk to the other side.
Well worth
It's
it.
easy to get to, right?
Right.
Definitely well worth it. So here's the thing that changed it for me and my best friend. When you go on vacation, you usually eat bad, right? Because that's what you eat, what you have, right?
Mhm.
Well, at this particular resort, we had so many healthier, leaner options.
Options.
And it was absolutely amazing. Like waking up every day eating fresh fruits, fresh
Right.
veggies. You're watching them cut them up and
Right.
serve. I mean, it was just their cadence. The grounds were well kept. The
That's a good
the
thing.
property was well kept. And I loved how, we kind of had just like one or two small minor things that, we had to bring to their attention. But
Right.
because of that, they overcompensated in
That's
other
good.
areas, which we were just talking about that, right?
Right.
Because they were short staffed, but they made up for, these little mishaps that was outside of their control.
Right.
So I would say that was the absolute best resort that I have stayed, and I
Really.
tried a lot. I've stayed at a lot, and that is number
Right.
one.
Number
So much
one.
to where we're already planning to go back next year.
Wow. Now that's big. That's big. Now I do want to say a couple of things. First of all, like if you're listening and you haven't traveled in a bit, especially outside of the United States, go ahead and get your passport, please. Like I speak to so many people that don't have a passport.
Please.
Please go get your passport. The second thing that you want to do after you get your passport, go pick up the rainy day planner. Like let's plan for these impromptu as well as planned vacations and make sure
Yeah.
that we're ready. So pick up the rainy day planner. We're gonna put the link down below on how you could do that. And then three, just like live a little experiment. The only thing that I'm gonna disagree with you, Amika, on is like the food. Like, I mean, I like fresh food. I really do. I consider myself average height and well, I'm above height, but average weight for my
Mhm.
height. But like when I'm on vacation, I want the greasiest piece of bacon. I want the fattiest piece of meat. I'm not trying to eat lean at all. I'm trying to do the opposite. I mean, yes, I'm happy that the option is there, but I'm gonna knock that platter out the way and get me straight to the eggs, straight to the grits, straight to the empanadas, right? Because we're in Mexico now, right? I want the tortillas. I want as many tacos
You
as
want every
possible. I want
you want everything.
tortas. Yeah, I want everything,
Yes, everything.
especially like if some place that has a whole different culture than I'm used to. I want to
Mhm.
eat what the locals eat. As a matter of fact, take me to the hood. I think we talked about this before. Give
Yes,
me the
yes,
biggest plate of
yes,
everything. But yeah, I do agree that it's good to have the options. And at least they were
right,
mindful of people that could be vegan or people that could
right,
be dieting. But
right,
typically, I try to live good until the vacation, and then I go
right.
on a vacation, then I wild out.
Exactly, and that was my plan too, and I
Hmm.
was like, "Wait, hold up.
Okay, there's fruit. There's fruit.
Let me try this out." And
Right.
it just became like an everyday thing. And
Right.
don't get me wrong, we pigged out sometimes
Okay.
like
Good.
dinner, or maybe like we had something really juicy for lunch, but
Right.
but just knowing you have the option.
Yeah. I'm just messing with you for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, but I'm the same way because sometimes like I'll have a heavy lunch and because when you're on vacation you're doing so much eating, like you
Right.
kind of do sometimes just need like some fruit, some water, something super light because just
A
to get your
salad.
belly right.
Yes.
Exactly. Get some fiber or something, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. Yep. That's good. So can I go backwards for a second?
You sure can.
Okay, let's go backwards for a second because I'm always hearing gems. I try to pull out the gems, especially from a business standpoint, because ultimately we're having fun right here. And let me know below if you have been tuning in, if you do like fun, or if you do want to hear more business topics. So we're having fun and we're telling stories, but we always try to bring it back for the entrepreneurs. Let's
Right.
go back to the outage for a second. I think there's a big lesson there too, because I think I posted about it on Instagram. Like the outage happened, and it was airports, it was banks, a
Mhm.
lot of people where they work, if they work in logistics,
Mhm.
it was just gone, and people couldn't do certain things that they would just normally do because of technology. And you know me, like I love technology, but every now and again, like it's a good reminder that
Mhm.
we can't get too focused or too caught up. Like for you, I'm happy that you had a rainy day fund, right, to enable you to do things that technology couldn't help you with, right? Because now you were
Right.
stuck, you were stranded somewhere, and you couldn't do this, but you had options to do that. So I want to know, from you, Omika, and some of our audience members, what do you do daily to prepare for outages? Or do you not prepare for outages? Or is it like, hey, you know what? Technology is good. AI got me. Nothing will break down. I got Instagram. I got Facebook. Like, I think it was a great wake up call for people to realize
Right.
that especially when it comes to banks, like certain banks were down. So you didn't have access to money. So Omika, like, I don't
So
think you were, yeah, talk to me.
so one thing you hit the nail on the head when you said money, right?
Hmm.
Because it's quite as it's kept. Like I know some people say credit rules the world, but money
Right.
makes the world go around. So I have ever since COVID, I have been practicing not putting so much of my money
Hmm.
in banks.
Nice.
So that is something, like I said, that we started like during COVID. And, you know, if I would not, because what if I would have been out there and I couldn't go to the ATM? Because some
Right.
people can,
Right.
right? So I was glad that I have gotten into the habit, especially if I'm going out of the country, which I had already made plans to go to Canada.
Right.
So I'm okay, let me bring cash because I do like to buy like different currency, like
Right.
exchange different currency and just keep it just, for a keepsake. But definitely not putting all of my money in the bank. Definitely budgeting before I
Right.
go on a trip. So planning things out in advance, breaking it down into just like smaller chunks.
Right.
Sometimes I'll plan a trip out 7 months in advance.
Hmm.
Actually, I'll probably plan two out. 7
We know you.
And just like I said, COVID was like kind of like it was an alarm, right? It was an
Right.
alarm to me, how the world just was shut down.
Hmm.
Um, so when it just came to just like how I handle my funds, that's when the whole process started. And I
No.
just kind of had like a complete mind reset.
Right.
Um,
No,
so
that's good.
that was
That's
for
good.
me.
Yeah, that's
Hmm.
good too. And just a couple of weeks ago, too, in Jamaica, another foreign country, Hurricane Beryl came through, and
Yeah.
luckily it didn't do too much damage. But one of the things, I have friends and family members that said that, obviously power went out for a few days, and along with power, ATM machines were down for over a week. And one young lady that I was listening to was just talking about, how fortunate she was to just have some cash to be able to
Mhm.
pick up, groceries. There are no lights in the house, but she was able to get candles,
Right.
groceries, milk, and things of that nature. And people were forgiving when it came to bills because the ATM crisis was a national crisis in Jamaica.
Mhm.
But yeah, like just imagine, like, what would you do if you didn't have access to an ATM machine? Like several years ago, I worked at a national great big telecom. I don't like throwing names out
Mhm.
sometimes, but I worked for a telecom comp company, and there was a young lady that worked with me. She was my assistant. She moved up, but one of the things that she did, like especially at the beginning of the year, she placed herself on an envelope system. And I'm sure, being in finance and planning, you've seen these envelope systems. And she would get her check. She would take a certain amount out in cash and be like, "Hey, I can only spend that because the
Right.
rest is definitely already, you know, s- segregated, right, segmented away for either bills or savings or whatever." And she stuck to her her envelope system for
Doing
sure.
the 50-30-20 rule
Yeah,
because
yeah.
it works very similar to that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
do you know by heart? Educate us. For those that are
Yes.
listening that don't know,
So that is something that I highlighted within the rainy day planner, and I too
right,
created these money saving envelopes that
right,
comes with the planner bundle. So yes,
okay,
so 50% of your income is going to go towards your bills, right? The things that you know you need to pay. Okay.
right,
30% is going to be, your leisure money, eating out, entertainment. And
right,
20% will be your savings. Now, some people say, well, I want to save more than I spend. So they'll allocate the 30% to the savings and the
okay,
20% for the leisure, which is absolutely fine.
right,
But the bulk of your money has to go to those important things like your mortgage, your car insurance, your car note,
right.
things of that nature. And if you stick to that, you're going to end up paying yourself
Makes sense.
every
I
single
love
time.
it.
So yes, that's how
I love it.
that process works. For anybody who's looking to just kind of get more aligned with their saving habits and become better stewards of their money, I would definitely start with the 50-30-20 rule.
Okay,
Yes.
awesome. And where can we get that?
You can go to rainydayplanner.com.
Okay,
It
okay,
is highlighted along with other things. If you're into, I know we were talking about picking out on trips, but if you're into meal
right.
prepping and you want to write down your grocery list before you go to the grocery store, the
You can
Rainy
do
Day
all that.
definitely has you covered.
Awesome. I appreciate you. All right, let's switch up just a little bit. So we talked about vacations. We talked about being prepared as often as possible, especially in crises, right, or crises. Um, but I also want to switch up and talk about a little about pop culture. So
Oh,
something exciting is happening right now, and I'm not sure if you're an Olympics person. You gotta say yay or nay. You are
yeah,
okay. So there's a lot of nuggets in the Olympics right now.
yeah.
So I try to watch the Olympics every 4 years, but this one seems special to me. It just seems like there's a vibe to it that I can't quite put my finger on. But I'm watching all the games. It's on in the day, and anybody that has Peacock, they're doing this little quad video thing where you can watch
Yes,
multiple things at once.
I
So
have
if
been.
you, yeah, so if you have a short attention span, I honestly think that this is set up for the millennials and the Gen Zers, right? Who just have to consume multiple things at once. And I'm not of that age range, but I like it
I
because
like
then I
it.
could be like,
Yeah,
okay, what's going on over here? And I could just zoom in on
right.
that. But I was able to pick up, two or three more nuggets. I love these nuggets, right? Everything that I do always reminds me of business, entrepreneurship, leadership, content strategy,
Yeah.
etc. And the purpose of this podcast is to, do our best to share that with you in an informal way. So you gonna run with me? I got three of them, but I want you to run with me.
I got you.
All
I
right, let's
got
do it.
you.
Let's do it. All right. So the first one I want to do is talk. The first one I want to talk about is basketball. Have you been feeling Team USA versus South Sudan? Are you familiar?
So I watched some of the women's
Okay.
and a little of the men, but I did
Okay.
enjoy the women's more than the men.
Really? All right. For me, the men's game, especially that first game, where it was, again, our Team USA. So I'm not going to go through the details, but it's the cream of the crop, best of the best. It's the
Yeah,
Buckies. It's the Buckies of basketball, right? And you automatically know that, okay, we got LeBron, we got Steph Curry. No matter who we go up against, we're gonna just wash them, right?
we're gonna dominate them.
That first game against South Sudan was
Yes.
fantastic because, and there's a lesson there, because I don't think Team USA was ready. I don't think they knew.
No,
I
no,
don't like the first quarter, second quarter, they were going at them. They were really good. Like Team USA was having a hard time keeping up.
keep it up. Yes,
Right.
yes.
Right.
They were
Right.
definitely having a hard time keeping up. And I don't think that Team USA took into consideration how for others in other countries, for
Hmm.
individuals in other countries, how this is their moment. They have worked their entire life for this opportunity, and they're
Hmm.
not going to come half stepping. For
Yep. Right.
USA, they do this all the time.
Hmm. Yep. Yep.
So I think that's where we had the disconnect. I guess
Yep.
I'll use
Yep.
that word. This is where the disconnect came in because USA is like, yeah, we do this. We like this is who
We
we
got
are.
this. Right. We
But
got
then
superstars.
we have this other country that literally from the time they could walk and hold the basketball. They have wanted to go to the Olympics. And
Right.
trust me, once they got there, they were not going to be half stepping.
Yeah.
So it's a
Yeah.
different type of training, it's a different mentality,
Right.
all those things.
Yeah. So for business owners, like there's two lessons here for sure. Like number one, if you've been dominating, like you could never be so high up that you can't learn. Like you
Right.
can't learn from somebody else. So never underestimate your competition. Never underestimate the fact that you may not be number one forever. You got to continuously,
Right.
practice, prepare, innovate, come up with new products, new services, and find different ways to do what you're doing, right, and still have fun with it. The second side of it, just like Omeika said, was you could you could represent internally South Sudan and
Mhm.
be looking at other business owners who are already there. And
Mhm.
if you work hard enough, you could get
Yeah.
to that level and be in the same conversations as the upper echelons of your industry, right? Just from practice, from
Yes.
consistency, right? From working hard, from also working with what you have. So what I mean by that is, South Sudan, they're in Africa and they don't have the same resources, the same
Mhm.
access to things that we take for granted, right? So if you go to
Right.
most urban cities, there are basketball courts everywhere, right?
Everywhere.
E-
Mhm.
you know what? Forget suburban cities or urban cities. Look at suburban cities where in most driveways there's like a basketball hoop, right, set up.
Yeah.
Dad already set something up,
Yeah.
so there's access there, right? So, if you're in business and you're like, hey, I don't have access to, a laptop or to, I can't get a camera, so I can't do these videos. You have your cell phone, right? Just pick up your cell
Oh,
phone. There's
you saw-
things that you have. You just have to make it pop. You just have to make
Yeah.
it work for you, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I love this story. So I think, no, I don't think the USA is still gonna beat them, but I think South Sudan, not Sudan, South
Mhm.
Sudan definitely made a name for themselves
Absolutely.
this year. Yeah, and I don't think that they're totally off the map in regards to us hearing more about them later, right? Right.
They're just not going to lie down and take it. They're going
Nope.
to make the USA work for it, which
Yep.
is how it should be. Because trust me, 9 times out of 10, they've studied these, they
Yeah.
Steph Curry's,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
The
Right.
LeBron James. And they're like, okay,
Okay.
okay, this is what we're up against.
Right. 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 Right.
How we live over here,
Right.
they
Yeah.
they have done their homework and their
Yeah.
research,
For
which is
sure.
why they came out in their first game in the manner that
Prepared.
they did.
Yep.
They
No,
were
I totally agree. They came to kill it. All right, number two is now her name can be pronounced multiple ways, but it's Sunisa. Some people call her Sunny. Some people call her Suni, but Sunisa Lee. She's one to watch too. So she's been in multiple Olympic games, but I think she just won a bronze or silver. But the reason I bring her up is because a lot of people don't know about her trials, like the trials that she's been going through, over the past 2-3 years. So she goes to Auburn, but I think last year she had multiple kidney
Yes.
issues, kidney problems, right? So the message there is, I know that getting sick, it's not an excuse, it's reality, right? Now,
Mhm.
but just like South Sudan, don't count yourself out, right?
Right.
There are certain things that you could do, in the meantime, to practice, to prepare to get to that next step. And since she's been in Paris, I haven't heard her, make any excuses. Her family's there for her, so she's definitely one to watch. What are your thoughts on Sunny Lee?
So, absolutely love her. But what I love the most about her story and what's been
Hmm.
happening since she's been in Paris,
Right.
and I'm going to drop a nugget this
Yep.
time.
Let's do it.
So, it doesn't matter if someone is in the same field as you or they have the same type of business as you. It's enough room up here at the top for all of us, right?
Oh, for sure.
So just to see the camaraderie between her and
Simone
um, Simone,
and the whole team, the whole women's gymnastics team.
right?
Yeah.
Just to see how they come together and it in their minds is it's not they're not in competition with each other. They're in
Yeah.
competition with everybody else.
Yeah. They're a team. They're working like a team.
They're a team, they work like a team. And when I'll call her Sunny, when Sunny
Right.
wanted to give up, Simone was there for her. And
Right.
Simone talked her off the ledge. So always keep the right people in your corner. Always like go back and check your circle and make sure that you don't have people poking holes in your boat.
Right. Yep.
Right? So
Yep.
you don't have to sit up there and wonder why you keep taking on water.
Hmm.
Check the circle, make sure you have the right people in your corner because Simone could have very well just said, well, that's on her. That's her issues. I'm
Right.
here to win medals too.
Hmm.
But she didn't do that. She had her bag, she lifted her sister up, and they were not in competition with each other. I think
At all.
I feel like this Olympics is just a special touch. I'm gonna
Hmm.
say what I think it is when you're done with your
Okay.
third.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I would have to agree. There is definitely some magic in
There's some
this
magic happening.
for
There's
Paris
there's
Olympics.
definitely some magic happening. The other thing, before I go to my third Olympian, is going to be specifically with the U.S. gymnastics team.
Mhm.
They all took a couple of hard tumbles and falls too. I don't know if you was watching,
Yeah.
but Sunny, Simone, like there are certain times in practice sessions that they're like falling to their face hard, like pow.
Right.
I was like, man, is she ever gonna get up? But not only did both of them, so in both instances, but not
Mhm.
only did they get up, they got up with smiles and they
Yes,
came back and like killed it, like nothing happened.
yes,
So sometimes, like we
yes.
as entrepreneurs, we as content creators, like we're afraid, we're scared. Like, what are people gonna say when they see us fail, like in public? Like, what are people gonna think? Like, oh, now I gotta stop. You're not gonna see me on the internet no more because I put out this video and only got one like. This must not work. I'm a failure. No, it's all mindset. So these
It's
young
happening.
champions have been training since they're probably one or two to really not just hone like their physical skills, but to
Yeah,
hone their mental skills. And
yeah.
they know that mistakes, falls, tumbles, that's just part of the
It
process. And there's
gonna
no way to win a gold or silver or bronze medal or to even have the opportunity to be in Paris or any Olympics without going through trials, tribulations, falls, stumbles, obstacles, right? So it's just part of the
yeah,
game. So I love it. I'm with you. All right, you
yeah,
ready for number three?
I
Number
am.
three, number three could probably be my favorite. Not a lot of people are talking about him, and I promise you, this is Cas and Omeika just kicking it. This is not a sports show, and it will never be a sports show. But I got to
Absolutely.
get to number three. Yeah, so number three is gonna be Yusuf DCAC. So I'm not sure if you were watching sharpshooting, but he was killer. So he's 51 years old, and
Is
if
he
you've
the
been
what?
watching, he's from Turkey. He's
Turkey.
from
Okay.
Turkey. He's from Turkey. So if you've been watching any of the shooting games, right? You have a couple people who've had the special
Black
spectacles, opticals, one flipped up, one tinted, one circular, one square. This dude came out with the regular
lens crafters. He came
lens
out his
crafters. He came out with the regular lens crafters bifocals from Grandpa, like
with his hand
that you get
in
at
his
Dollar Tree, with his hand in his pocket, with a regular white shirt, regular sneakers, nothing fancy, and just like pow 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 pow. And one is
pocket.
silver, but it's not even the pow 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 pow. It's the fact that he's 51 years old. So if you're
Yeah.
watching the Olympics is really a young person's highlight, right? There are a lot of again teens, young teens, older teens, early 20s, some 30-year olds, but I didn't see too many 40 or 50-year-olds doing anything, right?
Right.
So multiple lessons here. He's 51, but this is not his first go around. He's been doing this since 2001. And I think he's been to the Olympics 3 or 4 times, right? And he's won other championships, but this is definitely the sport that he loves to perform in. And in this Olympics, he's the first time he's being you know what I'm saying it's the first time, but I think it could be the second time that he's winning a medal. All right, so you could correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I don't mind at all, but I think I'm very much liking the fact that for anybody that's older than 40 and you're like, hey, it's too late for me to kind of get in the game, right? It's too late for me to start a business. It's too late for me to pivot and choose another career. Like I can't be a world champion because I'm too old. Like it's never too late. Like you got this. Like if he could do it, and not even just him, if there's so many success
Mhm.
stories of people that started later than 40, later than 50, later than 60, right? Me and I believe my daughter, we was talking about Kentucky Fried Chicken, the Colonel. I think the Colonel himself started with his, 13 secret herbs and spices when
Yeah.
he was in his 60s, right? So it's never too late. So shout out to Yusuf for really doing it at the age of 51, bringing a medal home to Turkey, doing something that he
So
loves. Like
calm and
so
cool.
calm,
Go
cool,
ahead.
collected. Wasn't even. He was like, I don't need them special glasses. Let me just look over the room with my glasses and
Yes.
go pow, 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 pow. So yeah, I've been
Well,
really enjoying the Olympics. I want to get this episode out soon, especially while the Olympics is still going on. We've been catching up, so kudos to
yeah.
us getting them on YouTube faster. But yeah, tell me what you think. You said you had another major nugget, especially with what you think is going on with this year's Olympics. Tell
Snoop
me what you
Dogg. Snoop
listen.
Dogg.
Listen. All right, hold on for a quick second before we get to Snoop. So when you have a birthday, an anniversary, anything celebratory, and you're getting into it, you want to celebrate, you get a cake, right? You come out
Yeah.
with this cake, and whether you like chocolate or vanilla, the icing on the cake is what
Mm,
really brings it home. Snoop
right.
is the icing on the cake.
Honey,
Like
buttercream. Okay. He
butter
is
cream doggy dog. Yeah, I love it. Like he looks so
the
much
fact
like he belongs.
is authentically
Yeah,
enjoying
yeah,
every single sport.
yeah. Him and Martha just
Him and Martha,
canoodling.
they done linked up again. That's his home girl.
That's his homegirl, right?
And this is where the magic is coming from. We're taking someone who we would not expect.
Mhm.
And I don't think the world was ready based on what everybody's saying.
Right.
Like, why him? Why
Why
not
not?
him?
Why not him? Right.
Because I can promise you, based on the reactions from a lot of people who have been tuning in, he has been trending since
Yeah.
day.
Day one.
And it's not, and he brought his family along with him. And he's dressing up. for
Mm-hmm.
these different sports. He's a part of it, and
Events.
he's
Right.
bringing that fun, just light laughter.
Right.
He's comfortable being who he
He's being
is.
himself. I love
He's
that.
being himself. He's not trying to impress anybody. He's being who he is. And you cannot take that away. And when I tell you, like you said, you watch it every 4 years, but it has never been this good. There's
It's
been
good. Yeah.
some good, stiff, tight, close competitions.
Mm-hmm.
Some people who, some of us may have in, anticipated to win,
Right.
did not. And
Right.
it goes back to what we talked about earlier. Is the mentality.
It is.
It's being
Yeah.
mentally prepared. It's not
Mm-hmm.
showing up thinking that, oh yeah, I'm here because this is who I am. No, 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 no. You
Right.
have to earn it, and when you get there, you really have to continue to put the work in
Right.
to be successful. So I give all credit to Snoop.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Now Snoop
That's,
is definitely doing it. He's definitely bringing a
yeah,
different
yeah,
energy, and
absolutely.
a lot of people didn't expect him to do what he's done, and a
Right,
lot of people also don't realize that Snoop is internationally known.
right.
So little known fact: Snoop is the most recognizable rapper in the world,
Yes,
across the globe, right? But it
yes,
has nothing to do with rap though. He brings a different culture. He
yes,
brings a different vibe to it, and I agree with you when you say that he's really just being himself. And people, regardless of who they are, black, white, yellow, green, red, purple, appreciate when somebody's authentic, right?
yes.
And he's just up there and he's blending in, but he's still bringing his own style. It's not like he's
Right,
blending in trying to be somebody else. And
right,
there's a big difference with that. So yeah, I totally
right.
agree. And
Yeah,
also want to echo you saying that hey, we're looking at champions. The other thing I like too is that there are a lot of stories. There are a lot of people, you know, flipping and diving and working for their family back in their country to get
yes,
aid to pay for bills. So I do like the backstories as well. But this Olympics that's on currently is special, and there's there are multiple lessons, but I think the ultimate lesson is just a lesson in being a champion. So regardless of if you get your medal or you don't, the fact that you're showing up to represent who you
right.
are and where you're from is a
Mhm.
huge honor, and we could all be champions, right, in whatever we choose to be, right? In our industry you could be the champion of your family, but being a champion has a lot to do with practice. We've used the word preparation multiple times in this podcast, just being prepared and ready, right? And then showing up and being yourself, being authentic, right? A lot of things go into being a champion, but it's not easy, but it's simple. The process is
Yeah.
simple. And when I say
Mhm.
it's not easy, meaning that you're still gonna have some stumbles, just like
Right.
the Sudanese did or South Sudan did. You might
Mhm.
fall just like Simone Biles or Sonny, right? You
Mhm.
might be age gated, right? Like Youssef, right? So there's
Yeah.
gonna be multiple things going up against you, right?
Yes.
But you have to remember that you have a job to do, right? And you're on a mission. So you got this. You can do this.
Getting back to, not to go back to Snoop, but
You
I
can. That's good.
say this about him when it
Yeah.
comes to marketing and business. Snoop is the epitome of being true to your brand,
Mm-hmm.
not changed since he came out with what,
Mm-hmm.
NWA.
Since
He has
187 on an undercover cop.
right, right. He's the same person, and and the reason why he's internationally
Right.
known is because of his brand. He has
Right.
not changed anything. He's
Right.
become a grandfather, so he
Right.
behaves like a grandfather
Yeah, yeah,
behaves.
yeah, yeah.
You
Yeah. And
know?
one thing, can I interrupt?
Uh
So
huh.
I agree with the fact that he hasn't changed, and there's a difference here. He has not changed who he is as a person, as a brand, but he's evolved. And I think
Right,
sometimes like people
right.
think that hey, they can't, like if they evolve, they're changing. No, yes, yes, and no. So yes, you are changing, but you're growing, right? So he's evolved. He's more of a family man. He has his whole family there. So yes,
Yeah,
first album, he was 18, 19, he wasn't rapping about that stuff because he wasn't living that stuff, right?
Right.
But as he evolves and grows and matures, he's being the same person, but in the realm of who he is as a man. And I
Yes.
gotta appreciate that. I agree
Ye
with you. I agree with
yes.
you. Turn out to
Yes.
Snoop.
Oh, yes. Shout out the
Cool,
I
cool, cool.
man, he's just
He's doing it.
amazing.
Cool,
He's
cool,
a
cool.
nice
So we had, yeah,
man.
yeah. So we had a great show. Tell us what you're doing. What's coming up that we should know about as we land the plane?
Oh my God. Definitely in the
Uh-oh.
kitchen. Be on the lookout for a going back to school campaign in some
Okay.
way, shape, or form. I will be putting it out there. I'm getting ready for a photo shoot that's coming up.
Whoop, whoop.
And I'm so excited to, I guess you can say, reintroduce myself to my audience, reintroduce or introduce my personal brand, as well as my business brand. So,
Right.
a lot of things cooking up in the kitchen. I know you guys are like on the edge of your seat just to see what is going to come up, what I'm going to come up with next.
Right.
Definitely stay tuned, stay locked in. And if you want to know more about the Rainy Day Planner brand, check us
Boom.
out online, rainydayplanner.com. Follow us on social media outlets, Rainy Day Planner. Thank you so much for
.com.
listening.
I appreciate you. Yeah, we definitely look forward to everything that's coming out. For me, it's Kaz again. You know that I'm doing multiple things. So we have content. We're doing a little real estate. So throw a little salt, a little pepper, a little seasoning on top. Right. So we're having fun. But the one event that I do want to let you know about is the Atlanta CEO Network Mixer. So that's coming up August 24th. Is for entrepreneurs or people that just want to be around like-minded leaders, or again, entrepreneurs or business owners. And they kind of want to mix and mingle. That's at 12 o'clock on Saturday the 24th. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the link in the comments down below or in the description down below, and you could tap in if you want to. If you don't want to, that's okay too. Just continue to listen to us. We're going to keep on bringing the heat to you. We're just having fun. We're just kicking it. You're kicking it with Cas and Omeika, right? So we
Yeah.
appreciate it. Omeika, anything else before we close out?
No, I don't have anything else.
Cool.
Just keep saving.
Awesome. Appreciate you guys, and we'll see you in the next one.
See you
Peace.
in the next one. Peace.